Hello, faithful listeners, all three of you. This is Melissa Kahn of Run Heifer Run. I am the proud co-host of the Run for Your Life podcast, and I'd like to introduce my most amazing, freakishly small-headed co-host, Shannon Cheddar Cheese and Onion Pierogi. Shannon, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. I'm the wonderfully Canadian co-host, just for all our listeners. That's where my accent's from.
Oh. The audio is a little bit crackly right now, so guys, I actually have no clue what she just said, but it works out better that way for everybody. I am super excited to introduce to you tonight. I guess I would call you actually just a personal hero after watching your documentary. I was on Netflix and I watched a documentary called Coming to My Senses, and it featured Aaron Baker. Aaron suffered a spinal cord injury and was given a 1 in a million chance, 1 in a million, of regaining any function below his level of injury. And the next thing you know, he's cruising across Death Valley. Welcome to the program, Aaron. Thank you from the bottom of my cold, dead heart. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you so much, Melissa and Shannon. Honor to be here.
We are super happy to have you. I mean, can you start out by just explaining for the people who haven't seen your documentary, just a little bit about who you are, what happened, and that'll lead us into just some natural questions for you.
Sure. Excuse me. I guess the documentary in a nutshell talks about my 16-year recovery process from spinal cord injury.
16.
And I'm pretty goal oriented, so I used a desert walk as kind of an expedition to see how strong I was and see how far I could go under my own power, because I'd spent so much time rehabilitating and trying to rebuild my life. And so I walked across Death Valley, 20 miles. And in telling that story, that's kind of the spine, no pun intended, but of the story, of which we then weave together a lot of backstory and personal experiences with my family and friends and all the other good things I did along the way.
How long did it take you to film that documentary, actually? I mean, it was amazing to watch it. How long was the actual filming?
Well, my friend Dominic Gill is the guy that actually pointed the camera at me in the desert in 2013. And then from 2013 until last year, he spent those years in post-production, doing a lot of reenactment stuff and going through the archives, a lot of past footage, and really trying to come up with a story, because there's just so much content. There had been a couple of other directors, filmmakers that had attempted to tell the story, but there were just so many layers that getting a really cohesive storyline was difficult, and Dom did a brilliant job, I thought.
Yeah, no, I watched it last week and I thought it was intense and amazing. But I guess one of those layers or the storylines that really stood out to me is the family component. The one thing I noticed, your mom kept referring to everything as we. Like, it wasn't just you going through something. It wasn't just her as a mom experiencing something. It was something that you were going through together. So I know you credit your family and friend support with so much of your recovery, but I think everyone loves their mom, but like that relationship, what does that relationship really mean to you in your recovery?
Everything. That relationship means everything to me. It is the differentiator between me being here now and not. Truly.
And you pushed her away in the beginning. If I recall, I watched it again last week, and I remember when she had come out of recovery, and I took some notes here. But basically, what happened is you told your mom, pack your stuff, and you didn't need her like that. You didn't want her like that, and she came back and she said, "Well, I need you, so this is it." I mean, what a testament to moms everywhere out there. I have 4 teenagers. Mm-hmm. And so I could, I was just in tears watching it. And I just thought, did you feel in that moment just how blessed you were to have a mother that wouldn't give up on you? And even though you're pushing her away and you're like, I don't need you. You're no good. And she said, that's okay, because I need you and we're going to do this together. I mean, how did that feel from the inside?
you know, she's always been so fierce with her love, and she's been so unconditional as long as I can remember. I mean, from being a little boy, she was just always there for me as an immovable force, an immovable rock, something that I could build with and from and count on, truly. And I knew that she wasn't going to go anywhere when she said that, although I was very serious about my position and my statement with that, because she was sick. She was ill with her own disease, with her own adversity. I know that, you know, my injury was that pebble, the proverbial pebble in the pond that rocked everything, everybody in the family, and her especially, my sister included. We have a family history of addiction, and it was something that I needed her to reconcile with for herself before she was going to be able to come in and be of any help. Even if she loved me, you know, I know how much she loves me, but if she's ill, then we're just both sick and we're both struggling, and it's just going to be chaos. And I knew that. And that wasn't going to be a healing environment.
And that's the disease too. I mean, it's like you said, she's ill, but it's an actual disease, and so she was able to overcome that. And then what a reason to move forward in life and to say, oh my gosh, I have the most perfect reason to live. Not that she didn't before, but now she had a purpose to fulfill, right? A purpose to help you recover and help you. And what a blessing that turned into, didn't it? Just the vision of you guys on the bicycle together. I just encourage everybody to watch Coming to My Senses on Netflix so you understand what we're talking about. But the footage of you guys together was just so heartwarming, where, you know, you were a little bit wobbly in the beginning, and, you know, you said this was the hardest part, right? Was the getting going.
Yeah.
And what an incredible thing. A couple things stood out to me when I was watching your documentary, and I was taking notes as I go. One thing that I really liked about you is your grit, because you kind of like one tough mofo. And I remember seeing the footage that you wake it up in the morning, and it looked cold because you were like a little sausage wiener in a big sleeping bag, you know, like me in Phoenix when it gets
Did you just call our guest a wiener?
Sausage wiener.
I was a sausage for sure. I was packed in there.
I did. That's a first, by the way. I'll be sure and note that. But you had this grin on your face. I called it a shit-eating grin, but you had this grin on your face, and you said that even though your body was sore, you felt like a tin man, but you knew what you had to do, so you just got up and you did it. And I remember you looked so sore, and you're like, I got to do what I got to do, and you just got up. And then the footage of you falling down, and you had the little white step stool that you had to get up, and you just were like, gotta get on with it. Like, you didn't feel sorry for yourself. Whereas me, I would have been crying and calling for pizza delivery and 911, airlifting out. You just got up and said, well, okay, start counting over 1001, 1002. And I just thought, man, this guy is tough as nails. Was it easy for you to continue like that, or is it just something that you're hardwired with, that grit, or did you have to dig really deep for that?
I feel really lucky that this injury has forced me to get right down to the very edge of life and death. And at that edge, there's a real power, a powerful like desire to survive. And like, I'm always faced with that. Like, it's always like everything I do is really hard to do. And so I'm always like tapping into that space, that realm of like fucking real, like, desire to survive. Like, it's hard to do this shit, but if I don't get up, then I will literally lay there and die.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an option. My choices are limited.
You
and
said
so that's a powerful space, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You said you feel most alive when you're on the brink of death. Those were your words, right? And that's a profound statement.
I mean, it's always like right there. I could trip and fall in a swimming pool and die.
Right.
You know, like, it's just that easy in like 3 feet of water.
Yeah.
You know, I can, walking is precarious. The things that I do takes a lot of calculated risk. It takes a level of willing to tread that fine line. And in that space is like I said, power. Like I feel really grateful to at least have that option to do it, and I'm going to do it.
I think that's so awesome, because I think like when we have no choice but to get up and go, like there are two kinds of people who lie there and die, and others who get up and go. And I'm looking at your hat right now, and I see the phoenix. And I mean, I know what a phoenix is. I identify with a phoenix, but I think it's so awesome that, you're wearing that, because you truly are a phoenix. Like, you're rising from the ashes. Like, life kind of beat the crap out of you, and like on a daily basis, it sounds like you're choosing every single day, like, hell no, this is not how my story ends, kind of thing. And the fact that you're giving back by what you've created, and that's what I want our listeners to hear too. Not only you didn't just, survive your injury and you're recovering and you have a documentary. No, you're doing something for others. You've
Thank
created
you.
something.
Both my mother and I have found tremendous purpose larger than ourselves in being transparent with the struggle and the challenge or adversity that we live with, but then providing an opportunity for other people to, if they want, do what we're doing. And that makes it mean something. We didn't just go through all this for nothing. And that helps with the daily struggle. And I'm not always just happy-go-lucky, like positive. I get up every day. I mean, shit, there's no reprieve. Every day is me falling in the desert. Every day I have to make it happen. Literally, physically make it happen. And I mean, excuse me, I've had a cold for the last 2 weeks, and my body has felt like lead, and I haven't been able to get out of bed. And I've literally laid in bed feeling the weight of gravity for a few days on end. And so I'm learning as I age with this injury to be very patient, first and foremost. Grateful. Gratitude is my mantra. I'm grateful, but I think balanced and able to just go with this ebb and flow of celebrating the highs that we experience and acknowledging that being low and feeling dark and depressed and unable is equally as real and important to acknowledge, live through, and then rise from.
That's awesome. One thing I noticed that your wife mentioned in the documentary was about you asking her to like open the drapes or close the drapes.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, I know it's hard. Like, I think with strong-willed people to ask for help. So, like, do you find that a struggle to ask for help, or do you find like you still try and do everything yourself, or you've sort of come to like you've reached peace with knowing that you need help for some fairly what we might think are simple tasks on a daily basis?
I'm much more peaceful. When I was younger and, full of ego and a lot of pride, I wanted to try to do everything myself and show that I could do it and show it for myself and be independent. But now I'm in a space where I allow people. I put myself in someone else's shoes. What would I do? Of course, I want to lend my hand. If I can, take some of the struggle away or be of help with my ability, then I want to do that. And I do that with my ability for somebody with a lesser ability. I love being able to help them or teamwork something. One of my best friends is a paraplegic, and he is in his chair. He can't get out.
Yeah.
So, but he and I travel together. And so we teamwork, the adventure. I reach the high things and he gets the low things. And so with Katie, specifically, I've learned how to ask graciously, allow her to help me when she's there, but not ask for everything, because then that makes me dependent.
Mhm.
and I don't want to exhaust, her, her willingness.
Yeah.
So it's a delicate balance, and I'm just discerning with how I ask and when I ask.
And you said something interesting in the documentary when they were showing your wedding, which is just, I was crying and crying and crying. And you had the microphone and you said you were grateful for your suffering because it allows you to experience the beauty and the happiness. And that goes back to what you said just a minute ago about being grateful and expressing gratitude, because I was very struck by when you were helping people. We're going to talk about the Center of Restorative Exercise as well, but when you went and visited that little boy, that 16-year-old boy who I guess has since then passed away, and you went and helped them, and the look in his eyes of hope that when you watch the video and you look at his eyes and you see like, wow, if Aaron can do this, maybe I can even use my left toe like you with the nail polish and all that. I was so impressed that at the just being grateful for the suffering, because it takes a very strong soul to really be able to sit back and say, life played me a kind of a crappy, hand of cards, but you know what? I'm here. I'm going to do what I can do. And like you said, you've been down with the man flu. I can sympathize. I have as well almost died of the man flu this week. But you're grateful for that suffering, because it brings to light when you are feeling well and when you are able to do things. All of a sudden, you can help people. And one of the ways you're helping people is by co-founding the Center of Restorative Exercise. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about how that came about. And it's an absolutely fantastic thing. The one question I have is Taylor. Where is his accent from?
Taylor originally is from South Africa.
Okay.
And then he spent some time in England, but he's been here. I can't believe his accent's as thick as it is, because
It's so strong.
He's been here since he was 18 years old. So
yeah, and he still looks at 18 too.
Yeah, he plays it up.
But tell us about CORE then, the Center of Restorative Exercise, and how that came about and how you're helping people, because what an amazing gift you're giving the world through your own experience.
Thank you.
Tell us about that.
CORE, again, is the purpose in this accident. It's the physical space. It's a niche gym, health and wellness facility that bridges the gap between rehab and regular fitness. So when you're discharged, there's really not a lot of opportunities for people. With my condition, I'm not going to go to a regular gym like Gold's Gym or 24-Hour Fitness. That doesn't work. So when we first met Taylor Isaacs at California State University, Northridge, he was working as a student professor assistant in a special lab that had all kinds of cool equipment and people with different conditions, spinal cord injury and stroke and so on. And Mom and I went in there and saw the place. I'm like, holy crap, why doesn't this exist out for the general, public? And so that's where the light bulb went off, and we conceptualized CORE. I came up with the logo, and we just started talking about it and telling our friends that we were going to open this one day. And when we rode the bicycles across the country, we were selling it as though it existed. We called it reverse development, branding.
Mm-hmm.
And people thought that it existed, but it wasn't. I mean, it was just on paper. And so in 2011, Mom and I had saved our pennies, put all the eggs in that little basket, and we opened it. And then we invited Taylor to come in and bring at that point, he had like 9 clients. We said, stop working out, or at that time he was actually training people at another little gym. And so we said, bring your clients over here and let's start, giving people an opportunity. So 2011, 1-1-1-1, we opened.
It's absolutely incredible. I guess I have a question for you. What's your next challenge then? I mean, every day is a challenge, I understand, but in terms of what's next for you, there's got to be, is there something that you're looking at on your horizon and saying, this is what I want to do next? What's your next challenge?
Sure. I would like to do a stair climb event. I've had one on my radar for the last 2 years. last year I was prepared, but then I injured my toe, my big toe. It got turf toe, which took me out. So I want to do the U.S. Bank Tower, which is 1,600 stairs.
I've had friends do that with.
Yeah, downtown LA.
Wow.
So I'd like to do that in September. I want to ride my new Harley that I just have been building. I've got a chopper that I've been building for the last few years that I just started riding a couple weeks ago.
Very cool.
And you can imagine it's been 19 years since I rode a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I was terrified. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to physically handle such a beast.
Mm-hmm.
But, the way I built it, it's all really custom for my needs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it literally took 20 feet. I rode it 20 feet and then it just felt natural. I was like, oh, that's it.
That's awesome.
I got it.
That's awesome.
So,
That is really cool. My audio is cutting out just a little bit. Can you hear me, Shannon?
Yep, you're good.
You can hear me. Aaron, who's your hero? Who's your hero?
my mom. Yeah. And my wife. I mean, my sister
Mm-hmm.
is so damn strong.
And she painted
my-
your toenails.
Yeah, I mean, my heroes are right here. I live with them. I see them. I talk to them. I'm inspired by them. But then obviously, I get to meet a lot of great people that are in a similar hardship. And, the inspiration is reciprocal.
Mm-hmm.
I may inspire them, but then they feed me. And that's just how it works.
That's awesome.
We're all going through something.
Exactly. And that's why Melissa and I started this podcast, because we're all going through something. And sometimes we just need to hear another voice say, you know what, you're not alone. This is how I got through my something. This is how you're getting through your something. We're all just, this podcast is our core, I guess,
Nice.
how we're trying to give back and help others. But, Melissa's one of my heroes, and now chatting with you, I mean, you're motivating me. Everyone we get to talk to sort of motivates and inspires us in a different way. It's such an awesome opportunity. I'm so glad we got the chance to talk to you tonight. This was awesome. Thank you.
Well,
I love it.
I do have one very serious question for you, though. It's just something I ask every guest, and it comes from the very deepest part of my heart. And whatever comes to your mind first, just go with it, okay? I'm going to give you a word, and I want to know what feeling it evokes inside of you. When I talk about watercress, what do you think about?
Watercress.
Yes.
I'm not sure what that is.
Good answer. It's a vegetable.
You and everybody
Yes,
else.
Okay. I was thinking, is it like kale? Is it like lettuce?
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
She
It's
asked
von- it-
everybody. Yeah.
it's vomit-inducing greens. And Shannon, are you ready for?
It's good for
Are you ready for? Shannon, should we do our thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Do you even
watercress, bro?
We're getting shirts made.
I don't think they'll sell out, but we're still getting shirts made.
I don't know.
They won't sell out like your hats, but
I kale pretty hard.
Yes, so do I.
I kale pretty hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kaling every day.
Every day.
Every day I be kaling it.
That's funny.
I do want to shout out real quick and just thank our sponsors, Forever Home Running and Greasy Girl Headbands and Fitness Apparel. Thank you guys for sponsoring us. One final question for me, if you don't mind, Aaron. What's your default phrase for motivation? I mean, I watched your documentary a couple times and I watched a couple YouTube clips, but in your heart of hearts, when you're laying there, like you said, you weren't feeling good the last couple days, what's your default phrase for motivation when you just know you have to dig deep? What do you tell yourself? What's that one phrase that you repeat to yourself?
Strength does not come from physical capacity. It comes from an indomitable will. Something like that. That's a Gandhi phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it boils down to will.
Yeah, and your will, you said in your documentary, it wasn't a test of your mind. Everything has been a test of your will.
Yeah, my heart. you know,
Yeah.
that our minds get in the way. You know,
Ain't
when you
that the
can
truth? Yeah.
Yeah.
when you can get to that quiet space beyond thought, you can just be peacefully harmonic with nature and with the beating, the rhythmic beating of your heart, then there's synergy there. There's a vibrational cohesion between everything. And early on in my recovery, I experienced respiratory failure and flatlined. And so I have a vivid memory of that. And so I'm able to get into spaces of clarity and peacefulness that is super powerful.
Wow.
I don't think enough of us ever get to that quiet, peaceful spot. I mean, not to the extent that you have, but yeah, I don't think we slow down enough to be quiet and to just be and get past our mind.
Not in the Western world.
No.
I mean,
And
it's not common. Like, it's not taught in our educational systems. We don't learn about ourselves. We don't learn about our own, innate power, strength, and abilities.
No, it's a very Buddhist kind of Eastern philosophy, but I really think that without mastering that, we're all lesser for it. And I just think, wow, you have iron will. I'm really impressed with you, and just your biggest fan, truly.
I'm a mirror for you.
That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Melissa, did you have a joke?
I do have a joke, and I was just waiting for her to ask me. I need the attention. Erin, I always ask a joke of our guests as well, and it's a pretty bad joke. Just given, you have to understand, I have 4 teenagers, so I just have no brain cells left. Quite frankly, they've taken them all. It's a knock joke, and I'd like you to help me out with it. Are you game for it?
Sure.
Okay. You start. You start. Okay.
Knock, knock.
Okay. Go ahead.
He did.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's the worst. It's just the worst joke of all time.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Yeah. You're such a good sport.
Sorry. She's going to cut me out of my own podcast. But you know what? It has been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. I would encourage every single person to go to Netflix and watch Coming to My Senses with Erin Baker. I have never been more inspired by iron grit, iron will, and just the sheer determination to not do the unthinkable when you thought about it, and to get up and do every single thing you could to make your life better. You found a beautiful wife in the process, and then you co-founded the Center of Restorative Exercise. Erin Baker, you are a freaking hero. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being with us tonight, and I mean that so deeply.
Thank you for having me. I love sharing with you guys, and like I said, I mean, this is purposeful, right? This is us just kind of giving back and relating and sharing our lives.
Yeah.
So.
And much love to your mom and your sister, and especially your beautiful wife, for being part of your journey.
Definitely.
And bringing you to the world. So thank you to all of them.
I will give them all a big hug.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erin, for joining us.
All right.
And for everybody else, keep rolling, keep running, keep biking, do whatever you can, but keep moving forward, keep running for your life.